850,000 out there. Oh my goodness, quads on the flop.
So here's Benny with King Jack off.
Contrary to what Benny might think, this isn't a mandatory 3-bet or even a mandatory call to an early position raiser.
Did you really think he'd fold? Benny Spindler 3-bets.
Story checks out.
Now 20,000 to play. And hello, Paul Fulton is going to 4-bet with ace-6 off.
Okay, so I know I would be an advocate of re-raising Benny Spindler if you have any sort of hand, but A, Benny's not the only player in the hand. B, cold 4-betting with ace-6 is not a winning play overall. And C, no. Just no.
So action back on Benny with Bergstrom giving up his pair of 4s.
Boy, Fulton doesn't look very comfortable, does he? Oh wait, that could just be because he's British.
Now. Those are not calling chips. Benny Spindler is going to 5-bet to 90,000.
I guess either King Jack is too weak to call with and Benny wants to turn it into a bluff, or we're just seeing a good old-fashioned stack swinging contest, which, by the way, doesn't necessarily equate to good poker, though it is awesome to watch.
Fulton hasn't auto-marked.
He does have the best hand. Gotta wonder if he knows it, though.
Oh my word, it's a 6-bet.
There is some serious button clicking going on here. I'm not even going to pretend like I know what these guys should or are going to do anymore. I'm out. All right, now I know a lot of you kids out there are spitting up your energy drinks and fist pumping in your hoodies like mad, but to me, this is more like a game of chicken than poker.
Who will blink first? Not Benny Spindler, it's a 7-bet jam!
Fulton has now invested half his chips on this hand. Gotta wonder if he's regretting it now.
Oh my word, this is the sickest hand ever! Benny Spindler shows the King Jack at the end as he rakes in that pot.
Action folded around to the German, Spindler. He's got Queen 8.
Suited. You know, a lot of players don't think the fact that you're suited adds value, but it absolutely does. You flop a flush draw, you might be able to win it with a semi-bluff, and here you're seeing Spindler get aggressive, in position.
Ace-4, suited.
Well, Kevin Saul has a big stack of chips against the button raise. He's going to defend with ace-4 clubs.
36,000 chip raise. Over to Adam in the
Sometimes
big
might
blind.
even re-raise in that spot.
Well, Saul's a guy who'll mix it up, though, right? He doesn't have just one gear in the transmission,
He's obviously, to be as successful as he's been on the tournament circuit, he's obviously got game.
Big blind. So Kevin and Benny, you're going to go heads up.
Another
to this
suited
blind.
hand going in the muck this time. Jack 6 of diamonds in the big blind.
Queen of
Guy
diamonds,
lays it down.
queen of spades,
Oh, look at this.
three of
Trip
diamonds,
queens
Kevin first.
for Benny Spindler. Not much happening for Kevin Saul, though.
Well, that's the thing. You got 3 queens, but unfortunately, your opponent has absolutely nothing but ace high.
Yeah, there are 2 pieces to the puzzle to win a big pot, right? You've got to have the best hand, and your opponent's got to have enough to call.
Absolutely, and here we have a situation where it looks like Benny Spindler's going to want to bet it. He figures, you know what, I bet if I didn't have a queen, so I should bet when I actually do have a queen. I don't want to be that predictable. Kevin Saul might not believe this bet either. He might think his ace high is still the best hand. Spindler could have something as innocent as king 10 here.
Oh, look at this, Daniel. Looks like you're onto something,
gonna
and Kevin
raise
Saul
to
reaches deep.
300,000.
Okay. Well, what's happening now is Kevin Saul is trying to represent exactly what Spindler already has, and that's difficult to do.
Oops.
Trying to bluff a guy who's got it here. If this play's not a bad play by Kevin Saul, because if Spindler didn't have a queen, let's say he just had an ace and a 9, a very good percentage of the time he's just going to fold it. Saying, okay, maybe you got a queen, but as you can see, Spindler, he's not going to be folding with 3 queens here. Question is he going to re-raise or call? Looks like a call. I like that play better. If Kevin Saul wants to bluff the turn, be my guest.
Now,
That's
but
what I'd
he's
be
got to
thinking.
be done with his hand at this point, right, Daniel?
Well, there's still a
see the
flush
turn
draw
card.
present, so Kevin Saul might put Spindler on a draw and
queen of
think that maybe he can
clubs.
plow through it.
Oh, quad queens now
Oh,
for
boy.
Benny
Kevin's
Spindler.
going to check over to
Well,
Benny
now Kevin Saul is going to give up on it and check. Question is Spindler going to go ahead and bet these quads, or is he going to let a card come off?
Well, he cannot lose the pot no matter what hits the river.
Ooh, very tricky. So he's made 4 of a kind, and now he's not even betting. He's hoping that Kevin Saul will hang himself with a bet on the river.
Now the third diamond hits the river. But of course with trips out there, a flush not nearly as strong if somebody were to be on that type of draw.
If you had ace, king of diamonds, you'd lose to a guy with 3-4 in this spot, so can't get too excited about a flush if you had one. Looks like Kevin Saul, he's really going to try to represent 4 of a kind, and that's what he's going to do here. It's so sad in a sense because he's repping the hand that Spindler has played so wonderfully so far by just checking the turn and letting Kevin Saul walk into this trap.
Somebody hand Benny Spindler a bib. He's got to be drooling here.
Well, quickly Benny Spindler moves all in. I don't know if I would have done it that quickly, but the jig is pretty much up here. Kevin Saul cannot call, and a big pot here going towards Benny Spindler. Kevin Saul's going to muck it.
Wow.
And right now, we're all living in Benny Spindler's world. He's got almost 11 million in chips, and it's going to take something special to stop him. He's going to open another pot here with ace-queen.
Ooh, the Royal Hugo.
What does that mean?
It means 7-9 suited. One of my favourite hands.
Although Dwyer has it in the small blind, and he will call.
Okay. I mean, it's not a hand that it's at its absolute strongest in the small blind. But it's still pretty.
Hard to pass it up. Spindler has the best hand and position. Interesting flop though. Flush draw for O'Dwyer. Check, check.
I think O'Dwyer will probably have a go now. I don't think Spindler's folding though. Because Spindler can probably figure out from this turn bet that the plan was to check raise the flop, and if he can do that, he can deduce the flush draw.
It doesn't arrive on the river, so now what?
I think O'Dwyer needs to be pretty careful because he bets here, and I think Spindler has an easy call. Easy might be a bit strong, but I think he will call relatively quickly.
O'Dwyer makes the bet. It's a smallish bet, trying to make it look like he's trying to get paid, I guess.
And it's a real test of Spindler because in a previous episode, I think it was, we saw him fold king-queen on a queen-high flop. But if he can call with just ace-high here, then his eye is in.
Well, it looks like it is. Nice call from Benny Spindler.
Ace-9 suited for Benny Spindler in the cutoff.
Here we go.
He raises to 120,000. Isofano folds the button. Martin Zedenia has 10-7 of diamonds in the small blind.
Well, at least 2 diamonds are out of play.
So folded to Bergstrom, who has 4-5 offsuit in the big blind.
I can see defending a wide range against Benny, but 5-4 isn't really going to be ahead of much.
Bergstrom calls.
I assume Bergstrom's got some sort of plan for this hand because Benny's hand isn't all that bad.
On the flop is King 8-9, second pair for Benny. Nothing for Bergstrom. He checks.
This is a board that's going to hit a lot of Benny's range, as you can see. Maybe Matthias has realized this and given up.
A continuation bet of 140,000 from Spindler.
Matthias is counting out big chips.
Those aren't calling chips. Bergstrom has just check raised to 460,000.
This is kind of a random bluff. Benny's actually thinking about it, likely about what kinds of hands would be beating him now that wouldn't have 3-bet pre-flop. This hand has got to be right around the cutoff point of hands Benny would bet call with. This could go either way.
Bergstrom willing his opponent to fold. But Benny makes the call.
Not the outcome Matthias wanted.
The pot is already at 1.2 million. With 2 more betting rounds to come. 3 of diamonds on the turn.
Bad news for Bergstrom. He's drawing dead and he can't even play the board now.
Does he continue trying to tell the story? Trying to show strength on the flop. And looks like he wants to continue representing strength on the turn. That is a bet of 700,000.
Little hesitation there. Kid's firing more barrels than Donkey Kong. The board texture did not change at all. So if Benny thought he were ahead before, he's very likely to still be ahead now. He does have to wonder if Bergstrom somehow flopped huge. Looks like Benny may be planning on stationing.
Benny does make the call. 2.6 million in the middle. Neither player has a pot-sized bet left.
Neither player can beat top pair.
Well, the river is the ace of spades. Benny now with 2 pair, but that does bring a potential flush on the river.
That is an interesting card. Benny's hand improved, but the flush came in, so if Bergstrom were semi-bluffing the whole way, he likely just got there. See if Bergstrom tries to rep the flush.
Bergstrom's railing crew includes previous EPT winner Michael Tereniak. Well, the Swede bets 700,000 on the river. That's the same as the size of his bet on the turn.
And it's less than a third of the pot. I really don't know if Bergstrom would ever bet this small with a flush. Especially now that ace hit, Benny can definitely beat a few other hands in his value range now.
Benny makes the call.
And Matthias is forced to show us 5 high. You got caught, bro.
Spindler takes it down with aces and 9s. He has just taken nearly 2 million chips off Matthias Bergstrom. Round to Benny Spindler. And there's King Jack suited. So it's a raise to 3,400. And Felipe Salgado has pocket 4s in the cutoff. He's going to flat. Looks like we're going heads up to the flop.
And one of the 4's gone.
Oh man, what a flop.
Unbelievable. The set of 4s for Salgado. And flush and straight draws for Benny Spindler. Spindler's C-bet is 5,000.
40 years ago.
Salgado raised it up, made it 14,500.
My town, they're all in Africa.
Does decide to cool.
Taking us to the turn, which is the King of Hearts. So Benny now with top pair to go with all those draws.
Not really the way you want to improve.
Salgado improves to a 2-to-1 favorite with his set of 4s. Yeah, Salgado betting enough to force Benny to call off his remaining 50K.
Shrug of the shoulders. There it is.
Benny calls all in, and he is at risk of elimination here, and he is behind 33% equity, looking to improve to a straight or a flush on the river. Otherwise, we lose one of the 20 former EPT champions who began day 2 here in Barcelona.
He'll be sad to see his king and his jack not live. He would have liked to be up against the queen 10, but it is the pocket 4s. 2 pair or trips won't be good.
The river is the ace of diamonds, gets there both ways. Benny Spindler gets the double up and will now be the second biggest stack at our feature table. 86 big blinds, bad news for every other player.
Gomez with aces.
Alex and Benny are going to go heads up to this
850,000 out there. Oh my goodness, quads on the flop. Don't ever run bad.
Strange, the last time Gomez had aces, it was against Kevin Saul, and 3 6s came on board. He won a big pot. This time, 3 of a kind's going to come on board, and he's destined to lose a lot of chips right here. And now the question is, how is Spindler going to play it?
He is raising, wasting no time.
You know, this is an interesting play here from Spindler. He's got 4 of a kind, and, you know, popular wisdom would say you should just call and slow play it. But what he's hoping for here is that his raise looks like a bluff, and that Gomez does have a hand like aces, kings, or something along those lines, and is going to, you know, play for it all. He's just going to call. Now, you know, the funny thing about this is Gomez actually thinks he's trapping him.
Right, he thinks he's slow playing his hand.
He's He's trying to trap him as he thought and as he did against Kevin Saul earlier in this tournament. Now Benny Spindler asking for a chip count.
1,350,000 apiece. Let's see the turn card.
Now
Like
Benny
it, man.
can't really care how
Turn
much
cards of
Gomez
five
has
of
here.
It's just trying to like show
Jack,
weakness,
five
if you
with two
will. It's a little
spades
bit of
on
a
board. Alex
sort of
is
Hollywood
first.
move. Gomez is
He
checking.
checks.
And that's poker on a higher level, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Now Gomez is really checking in the hopes that Spindler, you know, is going to bluff at it. As we know, he's not bluffing. He's got 4 of a kind. And Spindler is really taking an aggressive approach to this
Benny
hand
bets
to try to
out
get as
2
many
million.
chips in as possible. A big bet once again of 2 million.
Pot up to 5.5 million now.
Well, this is the opportunity now for either Gomez to be an absolute genius and make the most remarkable laydown we may have ever seen,
Don't bet on that.
or he might just decide, all right, now's the time. Let's get all those chips in the middle. Just an amazing. Oh, and he does. He's moving it all in. Of course, Spindler. He's calling. He's got 4 of a kind. Gomez says,
yeah.
ah! Completely dead. River card is totally irrelevant. Spindler wins a monster pot, eliminating Gomez.